What's up and welcome to another episode of Gizmo Slip Tech. So I'm super excited to talk about the Razer Blade 16 this year. Huge number of upgrades and improvements this year that just make me really excited about it. I have been a Razer fan in the past, but over the years they just lost me in their quest to make the gaming laptops thinner and lighter. So I jumped ship for brands that made laptops that were a little bit thicker but offered the full potential performance of the hardware inside. And thank goodness whoever at Razer decided to change the direction of the product line. I think they're doing a fantastic job this year. And so for the first time in a long time, we're actually seeing the Razer Blade series getting thicker and more powerful while still remaining relatively portable at the same time. First of all, Razer has massively upgraded the vapor chamber cooling by making the Blade 16 29.8% thicker from 0.67 on the Blade 15 to 0.87 on the Blade 16. They also increased the volume of the laptop. Basically, the whole laptop is now 35% bigger. That is a huge increase. The total square inches for the laptop went from 86.6 inches up to 116.8 square inches. And they increased the weight of the laptop by 22% from 4.4 pounds to 5.4 pounds. So what did all of the, I'm kind of crazy with my arms there. Yeah. So how much of a benefit does increasing the weight, thickness, size of the device actually bring? They managed to increase the power throughput on the GPU by 75% from 100 watts to 175 watts, and the sustained wattage on the CPU from 55 watts up to 110 watts, which is 100% more power to the CPU. I think that's a much better balance for performance versus the weight of the laptop, and especially when you're spending upwards of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a laptop, you really want it to be hitting close to the peak of the performance, if not right there at the maximum of the performance cap. And at least for the GPU this year, we are hitting that maximum potential performance at 175 watts of power. And for the CPU, which is an i9 13950HX, 24 cores, 32 threads with 8 performance cores and 16 efficiency cores, that processor can go up to 110 watts of power. We haven't got clarification from Razer on this yet, but this is probably the sustained wattage of the processor. Like, it can maintain 110 watts of power, which is the highest we've ever seen from Razer in a laptop this size. And if this is the sustained wattage, then we're probably pushing well beyond 110 watts when we're using a short-term power boost. So for people that want to do video editing, content creation, this is going to be a much better laptop than before, like much more powerful. The other major upgrade for the Blade 16 is the new dual mode mini LED display. This is an HDR 1000 display. It's capable of over 1000 nits brightness, and you can do 4K 120 Hz, or you can restart the machine and get 1080p 240 Hz natively. So we're talking no loss in degradation to image quality. Now, I did take some high resolution photos of the dual mode display when it was in 4K mode and 1080p mode. Take a look and let me know what you think. Now, if the dual mode mini LED display does not fit your fancy, they do also offer a 500 nits brightness QHD plus 240 Hz display. Now, both types of display feature a dedicated mux with advanced Optimus and G-Sync support, and they should be a quick response display, meaning you're gonna be able to play esports games on them. And so for me, as cool as the dual mode display is, I would actually prefer a QHD plus 240 Hz. It's just a shame the mini LED is not an option with that display. Now, the Blade 16 comes with a GaN 330 watt power adapter that's up to 60% smaller than most power adapters that gaming laptops use. Now, you can configure the Blade 16 with an RTX 4060 or 4070, and in that case, you'll get a 280 watt GaN power adapter instead. The port selection is excellent on this machine as well. On the right, you've got a UHS 2 high-speed full-size SD card slot, a USB-C with display port connected to the integrated display for low power consumption presentations, USB-A 3.2, HDMI 2.1, and a Kensington lock port. Now, on the left, you've got a headset port, Thunderbolt 4, and 2 more USB-As and the power adapter port. And that means there's no Ethernet port. You'll need a dongle or use a dock when you use an Ethernet cable. Now this laptop features a full HD webcam with Windows Hello, an extra large glass touchpad, a slightly smaller battery at 95.2 watt hours, and there's also upwards firing spatial audio speaker system, which allows gamers to discern left and right audio when you're playing games for a more immersive experience without needing to have headphones. And of course, you can't forget the ultra premium CNC milled aluminum chassis. But one thing you need to know about metal chassis is that they can be dented. So if you drop a screwdriver on it, it's going to be dented. And if you do extended gaming sessions or lots of rendering, the laptop as a whole is going to start heating up. So it's probably going to get uncomfortable on your lap. One downside for the device is that the keyboard badly needs an update since it lacks a number pad as well as full-size arrow keys, and there's no dedicated home and page up or page down buttons. On a 16-inch laptop, you can go either way with a numpad or without it in my opinion, but I would still much prefer to have a number pad, and I think a lot of gamers out there still would. My primary hesitation regarding the Blade 16 is that I just really want to see how the new vapor chamber cooling system actually performs. Can this new cooling system keep the temperatures on the CPU and GPU in check enough to give us that full potential performance? If Razer can pull this off, I'm going to be super impressed with the Blade 16, and I think it's going to be one of the top gaming laptops for 2023, which this is the first year in many years I would have said that. There currently has not been an update announced for the Blade 14, which kind of makes sense because AMD's hardware is going to be delayed anyway. So I would expect an update for the Blade 14 coming up later this year. So if you don't want to miss out on my full review of the Blade 16, be sure to subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. I'll see you in the next one. Brandon out.